It is Sunday, June 21st. This is the first installment of the Uncle Buzz Show. I am your host, Uncle Buzz. Thank you for coming. I'm grateful to have you. This is the first installment of the Uncle Buzz Show. What we'll be doing on this show is basically going over some of your most loved albums in your life, the albums that you've loved listening to, the ones that lived the longest in your collection, the ones that you still have in your MP3 player, in your iPod, in your CD player, and in your Walkman, and your tape deck, and in your the record player, and everything else, anything else that you ever played your favorite album on. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's lived from then till now, we'll be reviewing it. And it's an interactive show. I'll be having weekly guests on the show. We'll be going over their favorite albums. We're going into, like, in depth into the songs and the writers and singers and producers and whatnot, just so we have some more clarity on some of the music that we listen to. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure it'll provide a lot more enjoyment. Also, what we'll be doing is we'll be highlighting new music in the city. So if you're a new artist in the city and you like to get your music played on a different platform, please send it to the Uncle Buzz Show. We love to play it on here so we could do our part, just to get as much music and content out here as possible to keep this culture going. You know what I'm saying? So without any further ado, my first guest that we have is none other than my brother, Chin Beats. Chin, how you doing, brother?
Peace, 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 peace. What's going on,
Yes,
bro?
I'm good, man. I can't complain, man. I can't
Thank you, man.
complain.
Thank you for
It's
having me on the show, bro. Appreciate
absolutely.
it, man.
It's a nice day. It's a nice day.
Of course, of course.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, man.
So we me also, just for a little bit of clarity, me and my brother, we make music together. Correct, Chin?
Correct.
And over the course of time, we've gained a heightened knowledge for a lot of music because we've been sampling, and I'm sure this is the same way for a lot of producers. Um, During the course of sample digging and beat digging and things of that nature, you tend to heighten your discography, your mental discography, so to speak.
Your musical horizons,
There
yeah,
you
for
go,
sure.
musical rights. I
Definitely.
like that better.
Yeah.
So
No
yeah,
doubt.
and this was tricky. The first show where I was telling him to come up with a show with an album that we could review, but it was tricky because we went over this one together. You know,
It
like,
was, man.
generally I won't be going over the albums with my hosts, or sorry, with my guests rather, prior to the show. I'll simply just I'll ask them what the album is that they uh
Review.
want to review. They'll in
Yeah.
turn give me that album. I'll go and I'll do the statistics on it, and we'll go from there. But seeing as how this is the first show and it's my brother doing it, and we've been listening to the same music pretty much our whole lives,
Exactly.
it's a little tricky trying to find the first album to go with.
Yeah. There's so many that, we would kind of both listen to the same stuff. So
That's right.
it came down to two though. It came down to Little Brother, the Minstrel Show,
Mm,
and My Soul's the Grind Date.
mm,
They came out around the same time.
that's right.
Minstrel Show came out '05 and Daylight came out '04. But I chose to go with the Grind Date. It was close, you know what I mean? But I had to narrow it down to one. But the Grind Date is probably one of my favorite albums ever, man. One of the albums I still listen to this day, man. The entire playlist is in my phone. So
Amazing album.
yeah, it's timeless, man. Well, to me anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but
Well, let's go over it. Let's see how people feel about it. But I mean, the one of their it's very rare you find a group that's able to have such a good project post their greatest projects. There's like, I mean there's like a huge space, and I wouldn't say that a huge space, but I guess between Stakes is High is where it kind of
yeah,
stopped with the great De La albums,
yeah.
and then I guess we not, and then you had the Bionics
The
era,
AOI, Artificial Intelligence,
right?
and
The
then
AOI,
Bionics came out shortly
and
after.
then boom, Grind Date,
Then the Grind Day came out.
right?
Right. There
12
you go.
12 tracks. I think it's ahead of its time with the 12 tracks there, the short
Yeah.
track listing.
Yeah, the short track. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely. The way I wouldn't say they were ahead of their time, but at that particular time, track lists were very long because, artists were getting with all kinds of producers, trying to get producers spotlights and
Yeah.
You'd have like 18 tracks on one album with different producers on every track. So
Yeah.
it was a nice change from all that. And De La Soul, they're known for longer albums anyway. So to see them condense it was pretty cool,
Definitely.
I would say.
Especially around that time. That was definitely the time where labels were definitely not subliminal about making you go and get every producer to be on your album.
Exactly. No, they were blatant, man. They were blatant, and
It
it
was
was like,
blatant.
yeah, and they were like, you could pretty much, you would have five different artists who had the same album pretty much, because they all had the same producers, they all had the same hooks,
Right.
same people doing the hooks.
Right.
It was like a conveyor belt, assembly line. You know what I mean? Type of thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about consistency with De La when it comes to the producers on their albums. They don't really stray too far here, like they, and
No, they
even
don't.
even when they do use various producers, they kind of keep it within the same realm of sound, I guess you could say, or tone,
Right.
right?
Right. There's a certain theme to De La Soul. You kind of know what to expect, but they're still unassuming because
Right.
they're so vast within their format. So
Right.
yeah, it's kind of like the Grind Date is kind of like an upgraded De La Soul, like a 2000s version. You know,
I like that. I like
yeah,
that. I
dope,
like
man.
that.
Yeah, definitely.
U.S. R&B and hip hop album Billboard peak position 17.
Okay.
Uh, U.S. Billboard 200 peak position 87. No, I guess it wasn't especially that far into their careers and the plethora of artists that were out at that time
Right.
and different sounds too, because we're into 2004 at this point.
Right.
So the South is already made their noise.
Oh yeah.
They're
Oh
already
yeah.
making noise out there. You already got Rockefeller doing their thing over here. You got G Unit doing their thing over here. Like a
Right.
so I number 17 for De La Soul. When was their debut album, Jin?
1989.
There you go, 1989.
1989.
Not
Their
bad.
first single, I think, was 88, and I think late 88, and then the Freaky High came out early 89.
Plug
Which
tuning, no?
Plug Tuning, yep.
That's right.
Plug Tuning was their first single.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And then 15 years later, you have the Grind Days. So
At peak position number 17. Not bad. Not bad.
that's that's not bad at all. And you have to think, with the South is on top, but this is a crew from the East Coast who's not only from the East Coast, but they've been around for so long. So to have an album that kind of exists at that point in that type of marketplace is a feat in itself. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
I have to give it that credit. Aside from my personal feelings about how I feel about it musically and technically and things like that, it's really it's dope to see. It was promoted the best it could. You know what I mean?
No,
And that
definitely. Absolutely.
yeah, and
Um,
that it shined
I
too.
remember it was on the Chappelle show.
Right.
Chappelle
The
had them
Chappelle
on there.
show.
They performed. I think it was much more. But shout out to Chappelle because Chappelle kind of was the living color, I guess you could say, for conscious music or
Right.
conscious rap at that
Right.
time.
Definitely. And
Because
they were on a
there was
De
definitely
La
a
was on a
platform there.
yeah,
Definitely a platform
definitely.
there.
Oh yeah.
Um, no skits, no interludes.
Interesting.
Very, very, very interesting for a De La album. Talk about that shit.
Yeah, they could pull it off, man. If you start something, you could finish something, man.
That's
So
right.
if you popularize the skit, or if you invent the skit, or whatever they want to give De La credit for, pioneering the skit, you know,
Right.
they can get away with not putting skits on it. You know what I mean? And
That's right.
moving on. You know what I mean?
And I mean, it who's I mean, not just we know that now. I think Grind Day kind of proved that they're able to get by without skits on their albums
Exactly.
and making
Exactly.
it so thematic, so to speak. Like there is a theme with this album definitely, but it's not as forced, I guess you could say, as the other albums because of all the
No.
skits
Right.
and things of that
Right.
nature, right?
Right.
So
And
that,
it wasn't that the skits. I mean, like, yeah, it got to a point where you're right. Sorry, it did get to a point where the skits were kind of
and I
they
wouldn't say no, and not to say. Well, let me rephrase. Forced, not in a bad way. It's just that they really drove the point home about um making the album more than just music, like
Right.
making it a listening experience, adding
Exactly.
things in there that kind of make it more. It's
Like
kind
an
of like
audiobook. Yeah.
cinematic.
Right.
Like they're one of the first guys, first groups rather, that added a storybook element or
Right.
a type of story that was going from song to song to song, that they would use skits to tie in those songs with.
Right.
So I think with them, they're definitely among the first to do that. So to show that, I guess they wanted to kind of, I guess they kind of wanted with this album to strip away completely the 90s and 80s aspect to them, I guess you could say, because it really is
Exactly.
like the first time where you can. It sounds like Dela, but it sounds fresh.
It sounds like a rebrand. You know,
Right.
it's,
Absolutely.
it's a 2.0 type of thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That, but I still got the De La vibe. I still got the theme. I still got the concept. I still got the sound to a degree.
Right.
It's just an updated version. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
they were able to do that seamlessly, and a lot of groups can't do that. A lot of groups don't even stay around to do that. You know what I'm
It's very
saying? So
true.
yeah,
Very
that's
true. Um, Producers on the album, we got Super Dave West from
dope.
Queens, New York. So I guess he started working with them around the AOI Bionics time.
Yeah, I discovered him around. I discovered him through this album, but he's dope, man. Because
Absolutely.
I mistook a lot of his records for Dilla's records,
Absolutely.
so that was dope. You know what I mean? Yeah.
We got Jay Dilla also. We got Madlib. We
Mm.
got Ninth Wonder, Jake One. And that's
Fire,
it.
fire.
We
What a
basically got
lineup, man.
two of each, four from Dave, sorry, five from Dave, two from everybody else except for Ninth Wonder.
Okay,
Not bad.
okay.
Very concise album, very consistent album.
So they built the album around Dave. It sounds like, you know what I mean.
Essentially.
That's pretty dope. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? To get uh, that caliber of producer around Super Dave West is dope, man.
absolutely. And around that time too, well not I won't even want to say around that time, but that's kind of the thing with hip hop, right? When a group or an act finds a producer that they want to, I guess, solidify their sound with or solidify that producer sound in the industry,
Right.
you take an album and you take a chance with them, and
Exactly.
came out pretty good with
Absolutely.
this one.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, man.
I guess we'll start with track one. Track one, The Future. Talk about that one, Chin.
The future, I didn't know what was going on for the first minute or so. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't hear anything. I turned up my speakers. Didn't watch. I didn't. I saw. I heard something fading in. I was like, okay, let me stick around for this. But then when it came in, I was like, wow,
I
this
did the
is
same
crazy.
thing.
I was about to delete it, man, because I was like, okay, maybe this is, because I downloaded it.
Right,
Let's not front like we didn't download stuff back then. I did buy it later.
right.
Fuck with De La. I respect De La. I respect the catalog. I have a few of their albums. So I got that album, but I did download it. But I thought my copy was bad, man. I thought it was like some corrupt type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when it came in, I was like, damn, man, this is crazy right here.
I mean, the way that beat drops and the filtering between the opening of the song to like the part of the song where you think nothing's happening and it's actually building,
Right.
like the filtering between that part to when the beat drops itself, the way
Right.
they amplify that filter and they amplify that sound with the drums on top of it is like,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable, man.
It's crazy. It's
Unbelievable.
crazy.
It's a really nice opening. Like Dave really showed out on this album, and it kind of you kind of see it going forward,
Yeah. And now that was like when vocal samples really start to pick up
That's
in
right.
hip hop. So
That's right.
the way they cut up that sample to make it play like that with the drums, you know what I mean? It was like that. It was really innovative for that time too. That type of production. So
Definitely.
absolutely, man.
With especially with the high sample.
Yeah,
That was
the
that
high
was that was the thing
pitch.
at that
Yep,
time, man. Definitely.
that was yeah, exactly.
Then we got Verbal Clap, produced
Mm,
by Jay Dilla. Rest in
fire.
peace, Dilla.
Rest in peace.
Um,
Fire track, man. Fire track.
Credits to Rick Wakeman, Leslie West, Felix Papalardi, excuse me,
Right.
Norman Landsberg, John Ventura, and Daryl Shorts.
Right.
Verbal Clap. I'm a big fan of Verbal Clap on this album.
Me too.
One of the
Me too.
standouts for me.
I think it's a nice track to start the album off with.
Right.
No, it's not. It's the one thing this album shows is great sequencing too. Like
Absolutely.
I wouldn't put verbal clap in the middle or at the end. You know what I mean? It's something that kicks it off, sets it off. You set it off. You know what I mean? Set it off with verbal clap. So it was a nice
Absolutely.
hardcore type of vibe to it. You know, it was cool. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Old school type of vibe. NYC gave the bomb. So how you gonna hate us? We creators of the East Coast. Pasta News got off. You know what I'm saying? So fire, fire. I love that shit.
Yeah, man, that's one of the standouts for me on the album for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the standouts. I think the next one, also produced by Jay Dilla, um, is probably the standout of it. Well, it's tricky, but this is one of them. Lead single, I guess, or one of the lead singles for the album, "Much More," featuring Yummy Bingham, and
Fire.
with it's also featuring DJ Premier on the scratch.
Oh shit! I did not know that. Sorry, excuse my language.
No, that's all good. That's all right.
Can I curse? No, I'm
No,
sorry.
no
No.
worries. Don't worry.
Yeah, but wow, I did not know that. Well, yeah, kind of does sound like Premiere. Then I think about it, but wow,
Yeah, the the
I
the,
didn't
the
even know
cut.
Dilla and Cream collabed like that.
Yeah,
That's
Premier
cool.
Premier has that signature cut. But I mean, just the fact that Dilla was on it, you never know that. It, and just to have Premier and Dilla on your song together, like Dilla,
That's crazy, man.
only Dilla,
Only De La Soul can get away with that, man.
right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I haven't even heard a De La Soul Premiere track, so I don't think that ever came out. That needs to happen.
That does before
Yeah,
before
that's dope.
the world comes to an end.
Right?
Next we have Shopping Bags, produced by Madlib.
Mm, fire.
Talk about that one.
Shopping bags. I just found out maybe a couple of weeks ago. Just Blaze and Jake One did a live on Instagram, and Just Blaze said that uh, shopping bags was sent two tracked. It was not even tracked out. There was no session file. There was no mixing. There was no
That's a
master.
two track. That's a two-track recording.
Yeah, shopping bags is a two track, and all of Madlib's tracks are two tracks. So when De La Soul found that out, they were just shell shocked. They were like,
Are you
"Wow."
kidding me?
So he's not going to send the session files. He's like, no, there's no session files. This track is done as it is. Take it as it is. And they
Wow.
and they end up taking it. They ended up taking it. And it sounds like the rest of the album. So Madlib is a genius for that.
Yeah.
Like it does sound kind of dustyish, I guess.
There is
Maybe.
a dusty quality to it, especially around the part where they start doing this. She got it. You can kind of hear it a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. There's a clashing, mixing ish. I don't know, not really, because Madlib is usually lo-fi, but it was cool, man.
I mean, just the fact, the way that the beat um kind of whirls in,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can start hear
Yeah,
the ping 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 ping
exactly.
ping. Like it's
Exactly. Yeah,
amazing record, man.
warps in it. Yeah, it's like some
Yeah,
pitch bending type of thing. Yeah, it was cool though, man. I like shopping
absolutely.
bags, definitely.
Next, we got the Grind Date
Mm,
featuring Bones Malone with his commentary at the beginning of the record. Writing credits go to De La Soul, Dave West, Super Dave West, John Anderson, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Rick Wakeman, and Alan White. I like the Grind Date. I like the title track. I don't think it's the strongest record on the album. A lot of the times the title record isn't always the strongest record,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's decent. I like the Grind Date,
yeah.
definitely.
I like the grindy too. It's oh, well, not to put out there, Bones Malone, for those who don't know, I think is a writer or editor for the Source. I think back in the day, I could be wrong, or he's a documentary or something like that.
Yeah.
But the grind date, I like the beat. Um, the beat is it's the most vibrant track on the album, I would say.
Oh, definitely,
I mean, it's like this. It sounds vibrant.
definitely.
But it's very introspective too. You know what I mean? It's like Pasta News coming, talking about his dad, his father's upbringing, and him coming up as a child, and the grind that it took his father. You know what I mean?
Right.
For him to get into his position. So it's pretty cool, man. It went with the rest of the album. You know what I mean? I enjoyed the keeping the theme alive, and that's about it.
No,
But it wasn't,
definitely.
but it
The
wasn't a standout track. You're right.
I love the sample on this one.
Yeah, the sample's fire too.
Definitely. I love the way Dave West he chopped up that sample there and then put that
Oh,
together. That was
he
amazing.
did that one too. Okay, dope.
Um I think with the grind date, yeah, like it's like kind of I understand why they would lead with the grind date as with regards to the name of the album and this being the title track
Yeah,
because I kind of see where like you kind of get the overall tone of the record in this record and what they're saying.
exactly, exactly. It sounds like they started. That's the first track they started
Right,
off with. Not
exact.
to cut
There
you
you go.
off.
That's basically. It sounds like they started with this and it kind of led them to where the creativity took them. With this one.
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, you can tell. Yeah, I guess they would. Yeah, it sounds about right. Definitely.
Yeah, and then next we got Church. This is the one produced by Ninth Wonder. Writing credits to
Love the
De La
song.
Soul, Ninth Wonder, and Marlon McLean. Featuring Spike Lee, commentary from Spike Lee. So we got two records now where we have a commentary at the beginning of the record.
See, this is my thing. You look at the track list and you see like, okay, Church featuring Spike Lee. Oh, it's powerful. It's a flex. But I don't think it was. I mean, his what he said, his little monologue, 10-15 second monologue, whatever he said, it wasn't really necessary. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, yeah, I
he
guess
phoned that one in.
yeah, he did. He definitely did. And I guess he wanted to be on the album to sound like he did. You know what I mean?
I
Like to
think that's what that was. I
save
think
me a spot
he's a De La
somewhere.
Soul
Yeah,
fan.
right.
He said, "Get me on a project one day." I guess they were busy in the '90s. They had a perfect opportunity. Probably came to the studio
Exactly.
one day and said, "Peace, peace." Like it wasn't
Yeah,
necessary.
yeah. But
Especially
cool.
at the beginning of this record. It's interesting.
Right,
Put him at the beginning of
right,
this record. I'm not exactly
right.
sure. Maybe they have an explanation as to why he's at the beginning of this record. I'm not exactly sure.
If any purpose he served to me, in my opinion, I like how he talked and then the beat came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I like how the beat just dropped after
Okay.
he was talking. So I like
So
that.
not to cut you off, we're
Go ahead.
5 records. Sorry, we're 6 records in now. We're halfway there.
Okay, perfect.
One thing that I'm noticing. Excuse me.
No problem.
One thing I'm noticing is as far as the records and the the way they come in,
Right.
I'm noticing that there's De La's doing a lot of abrupt beat drops
Oh yeah.
with this record.
Right.
They do it with Grind Date, they do it with Church. Shopping Bags is a little bit more common to what they do,
They
where
prepare. Yeah, they
it's either the
prepare you
beat
for
just
something.
starts or they
Yeah,
ease into the beat a bit.
yeah,
Future does the same thing. Um, Verbal Clap definitely does it.
yeah.
Um, much more, yeah, much more too.
Much more does it. Yeah,
Much more
much
does
more
it too.
slick
Like
because
there's
you don't
there's
need
like
to
an
blend the beat.
abrupt beat drop
Exactly.
to kick off the record on this album. I notice it happens often on this record.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it. I like what they're doing, but
I love that. Yeah, because
definitely
I love not
on
expecting. I
yeah,
like
definitely consistent on par with the rest of the record.
facts.
Then we got It's Like That,
Ooh.
produced by Super Dave West,
Okay.
featuring produced by Super Dave West featuring Carl Thomas. Writing credits goes to De La Soul, Carl Thomas, and Dave West. Talk about It's Like That shit.
It's like that is like I like where it's placed on the album. I like that it tones down everything
Mm,
after such, I don't know what the word is, diversity or uh
vibrance.
vibrant. Yeah, exactly. Vibrant. Yeah, exactly. I like how it tones everything down, man, and it's a serious track. You know what I'm saying? Like Dave's
Yeah,
very serious. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it kind of sums up what the album's about too. You
it
know what I mean?
does. It's
So
another one of those records that it gives you clarity on what they're trying to convey with the record.
yeah. If and Tim's were construction boots, you niggas probably wouldn't substitute. And
Yeah,
he was going, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I liked how they got down on that one, man. And Carl Thomas laced it. Um, it's they have that. I like how this album has an R&B type of fusion vibe to it. You know what I mean? They don't
Definitely.
play away from the soul. You know, they get the R&B singers. They, you know, it's not like it's straight bars. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
that's why it's like you know, it gives the listener a chance to breathe for some people. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
definitely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it was dope, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I like it's like that. Uh that's one of the records I when you really take it in, you can kind of put yourself like depending on the situation you're in life, that record could really hit home.
Definitely, man.
Um
It
Carl
has
Thomas.
it has before, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, depending on what situation you're in, and
absolutely.
perfect timing will make that song hit you in a way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So they had a
100%.
few songs like that. Yeah, definitely.
Carl Thomas performed brilliantly on it.
Yep.
I like Carl Thomas on that. He didn't do too much. He stayed within his realm of what he does,
Hmm.
and he complimented the record well, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, the next record now, again with another abrupt beat drop, um, which I love. I'm not complaining. The next record now, it's interesting that they placed this record where they did because I think that when they brought down the record with It's Like That, this is perfect to bring the record back to where it eventually goes towards the end.
Hmm.
So it's almost like with the sample that they first of all, he comes featuring Ghostface Killer,
Right.
writing credits to De La Soul, Dave West, Ghostface Killer, and Eugene Record, produced by Dave West.
Fire.
Uh, the way they come back into the tone of the record, I think with the sample that they used, like singing at the beginning, right after that is it's very soft and melodic,
Right.
but the abrupt beat drop on this doesn't bring you into like a very abrupt beat. You have horns and whatnot, but it's still a little bit, like it's preparing you to get back into
Yeah.
some type of
Yeah. It's not
vibrance.
like it's a turn up. It's a notch up, but not a turn up.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
It's a notch
absolutely.
up from It's Like That. It's okay. We'll wake you up a little bit, but wait till we get to, the main course. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's what it
right.
sounds like. But it's one of my favorite tracks too, and it's a nice contrast because I like that Ghostface will rap on these type of beats, but still be animated. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I like that juxtaposition, and De La kind of complimented him. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
100%.
So Paz had a crazy verse too. You know what I mean? Granted, like terrible weather, nobody do it better than I. So prove like Carly Simon, most rappers is still hard, but still hardly rhyming. Like
Mm,
so,
mm.
and they got off, man. They got off. Like so, I like that track, man. I like that track a lot. That's one of my top tracks on there, personally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. No, yeah, he comes is an amazing record, and Ghostface Killer obviously does his thing. Ghostface
My
always does his
favorite
thing.
rapper, man. My favorite rapper, or one of my favorites. I won't say my favorite.
No, no, absolutely. No, I hear what
Top
you're saying.
three, top five, yeah,
Top
definitely.
five? We'll
Yeah,
get
he's
into that. We'll get into that. We'll get into that after.
yeah. That's another episode for another
Yeah,
day,
yeah, we'll get into that, and
man.
we'll get into your top five songs on this record, and the record you think that aged the best, and the record you think aged the least. We'll get into that though.
Okay, cool, cool.
The next record on the album, uh, I guess this is maybe where, for me personally, I'm not sure for you. Um, I guess this is where there's a little bit of a, I guess if you could say a skip. I wouldn't skip it. I like the record,
Mm.
but it's not the best record on the album. I
Is
guess
that
what,
come on? That's come on down.
yeah, we got no, sorry, we got Days of Our Lives with Common.
Yeah. Oh, okay, okay. Let me not skip
No,
that.
that's okay. No worries. Yeah, we're at track nine with Common, Days
Okay.
of Our Lives, uh,
Ooh,
produced by
okay.
Jake One, writing
Mm.
credits and producer credits: De La Soul, Common, Jake One, Larry Sugarfoot Bonner, William Beck, Marshall Jones, Ralph Middlebrooks, Marvin Pierce, Clarence Satchel, and James Williams.
Mm. Okay.
So before I get into it, how do you feel about Days of Our Lives?
Uh, well, you kind of prepped it for me,
I
to be honest with you.
apologize.
I like the track. Sorry, forget. I like the track. I like Common's verse. I like that Common's on the album because it keeps the native tongue theme kind of going
Yeah.
into the future because Common was like a top artist at that time as well.
Oh, definitely.
Um, I like Common's verse. It wasn't the greatest verse. It wasn't unforgettable verse, but it was cool. It kind of fit the mold. I like the hook. The hook is kind of lackadaisical, but it kind of grooves in with the track.
Right.
It's not the greatest track on the album. You know, it kind of just weaves everything in. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost filler, but not really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of like
It's
a
like
tie. It kind of
yeah,
ties you over. It's
right,
like a snack
right,
before you go
right.
before like you go
Exactly,
back to eating a meal again, like or lunch or dinner. You know,
exactly,
something in
right,
between type thing.
right. It's that part of the movie where you tell your shorty, yo, I'll be back. I'm gonna
You
get
can go get
popcorn.
popcorn at this point.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be about 5 minutes. You know what I mean? I'll be
Right.
back. I probably won't miss too much, but I'll be back. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. But it's a cool song though. I'm
And,
not gonna knock it. It's a cool
sorry,
song.
and they were definitely getting the bars off on the song. It's just,
Oh
eh,
yeah,
you know.
definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next record we have is produced by Madlib,
Ooh.
featuring Flava Flav. Interestingly
Oh
enough,
man.
um, "Come On Down," track 10.
Oh man. Why is it that? Oh man. See, I like. See, if shopping bags was not on this album, I would demand. Well, I actually want more Daylight and Madlib material, but this is not it, man.
Yeah, this is not the
This
one.
is not it. I like De La Soul. I like Flavor Flav. I guess I like. Oh come on, I love Madlib, love De La Soul, but and this track is not terrible because De La Soul doesn't make terrible music. I'm going by their standards.
Right.
Wasn't this was probably the weakest song on the album to me. Flavor Flav's feature was very unforgettable, very unprofessional, very why-ish. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
beat didn't really fit him. The beat was kind of
Unnecessary.
yeah, a lot of yeah, things didn't really mesh on that track. It did sound like okay, we have to submit the album in. You know what I mean? Let's get this, let's get that. Okay, we can get Flavor Flav, you know,
Right.
flavor on it, but the beat didn't mesh with Flavor Flav, and uh, Matt, the beat is cool. You know what I mean?
You can always leave
It's
it
a
to Daylight to do some quirky stuff. I didn't I it wouldn't be a
yeah.
Daylight album if there wasn't
That's
one
how I
song
took
that
it.
made you think like, you know, like
Right. That's how I took it, and you know, my opinion is different from someone else's.
no,
You know,
definitely. No, definitely, definitely.
death right now, so it's cool.
Track 11, No,
Okay.
featuring John Butterverse's Calm Cullen and Yummy Bingham.
Okay.
Producer and song credits go to De La Soul, John Butterverse's Cullen, Dave West, and Clifton Davis. Produced by Dave West. How'd you feel about No?
Okay. No, no is a good record. I like it. I like how it's at the end of the album too because it's not
The placement.
kind of it's a tone down too, but it's not as melancholy as it's like that.
Right.
I like how because it's like that as melancholy, but it's not towards the end of the album so much. So there is a bit of a pickup. So now you're at the toning down towards the end of the album type of thing.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like No. I think by itself as a song it's good, but it amongst everything else on the album it's not the greatest.
No,
But I like
definitely.
Yummy Bingham's hook. I like yeah, it's just it doesn't really sound like a De La Soul record, to be
Yeah.
honest.
No, I know what you mean.
You know?
I know
Yeah,
what you
but it's
mean.
cool. It's cool. I like it.
It's another one of those records that I guess is like a tie-in,
Yeah, oh definitely.
another snack on the record.
Yeah, it's a tie-in. It's a tie-in for
Oh,
sure.
okay.
I'm not skipping it, but yeah, I'll play it. You know what I mean? If I'm playing the whole album, I'll play it. But
If
yeah.
let's not play any more games. We're at the end of the record. We're at the song on the record. I think you know what,
Yeah,
you and I both wanted to
yeah,
talk about the most. Rock Cocaine
yeah.
Flow featuring MF Doom,
Oh my gosh.
produced by Jake One.
Oh my gosh.
Songwriter credits go and producer credits De La Soul, Daniel MF Doom, Dumile, Jake One, Paul Gritos, Didier Morani, forgive me for not spelling, pronouncing that right. And Roland Romanelli.
Okay. Let me just say this, man. MF Doom caught a body.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. One of MF Doom's greatest verses, man, is
Eat
on this
rappers like part of a complete breakfast. The rhymes ain't worth the weight of they
weight of
cheap
the cheap
necklace.
necklace. Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. I mean, I didn't want to go into all that, man. MF Doom killed it, man. I I first heard this track. This is the track that made me want to get the album because I saw them perform it on Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, it could have been. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, and MF Doom was on it too. I was like, okay, hold up. You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
I heard it. I heard the track itself. I was like, wow.
Was this your first time being exposed to MF Doom?
Yes, I wanted to point that out also.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cap and say that I discovered these guys at the beginning of their careers and I knew where they were going. Nah, I discovered MF Doom a little later than other people, but that verse is crazy. That verse is insane. Like
It really is.
everybody's verse is insane. Like
It really is.
that's one of Jake One's best productions, man.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like it's just the drums fit so well with the sample. Everything was just perfect on that track. The breakdown, the drum, the boop 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 boop.
Yeah, that and to get them to write their rhymes and to get it to end on the last drum, everybody was in sync with that too. It was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's the track that you know what I mean. Like that's the track that invites you in, man. That's the track that makes you wanna see what's up with the grind date, man.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
come to find out as a surprise, it doesn't sound like everything else on the record because it sounds very medievalish and hard body. You know what I mean?
It
Almost like
does.
horror. You know what I mean? So
It does, man. Definitely.
not even De La. That's not even a De La type of track. So it just threw me off. Like wow. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No, no
Crazy,
question.
man. Crazy.
The song that introduced me to MF Doom. Also, I've been a
Okay.
fan ever since. He's probably my top 10 artists, rap artists all time.
Wow. That's dope.
Um, De La Soul is my favorite hip hop group of all time.
Wow.
Simply because they didn't, they've been consistent their entire careers. They're pioneers in a lot of
Yep.
respects. The sampling, the types of skits, the different types of samples that they used
Absolutely.
at the time that they did it.
Yep.
I think right now, with the way hip hop is, where everybody can kind of be themselves and not necessarily look exactly the same for the most part. I think that was ushered in with De La and Tribe and groups like that.
Totally.
Um,
You
I
got to
think that,
think, man, with Eric B. and Rakim and NWA and Too Short and Gangster Life and Pimp this and Girls That, De La came and just made the blue collar regular dude palatable in the
yeah,
market, man. And it's like, damn, what took so long for someone to just be themselves
just be
before?
themselves.
You know what I mean? Or were they
Absolutely,
being themselves all along? You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
they kind of gave up of that perspective, man. And I got to salute them for
Like
that.
this weird
Absolutely.
competition that like we're like I understand the overall competition, but like I mean, just in terms of yourself and staying up with the culture, like De
Right.
La kind of made it so you could be in the culture, not really have to be in that race, so to speak. You could just be yourself type thing. Like
Exactly. You're in the race, but you're not in the race. You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
And I
Definitely,
think
man.
like they obviously went down the road like doing I don't want to say gimmicky stuff, but just being a little bit more theatric,
Hmm.
with
That's
Biotics and some of those records. But I think they came
absolutely.
right back to regular old De La with this record.
And that's what I love about it, man. It's like it's relatable. It's like De La relatable. If you're a De La Soul fan, they don't. It's upgraded. It's new, but they don't stray away to make you be like, "Yo, what's going on?" You know what I mean? Like
Right.
with Metallica, I forgot what album they made. Forgot what album it was, but if it was a Kill 'Em All or one of those, or
Yeah.
help me out, one of those albums that threw people off. But it wasn't like
Oh, I want to say not burn.
One of those albums, man. One of the albums that sounds completely
Yeah,
different.
but I know which one you're talking about.
But artists do that. Artists go in directions. Common did it with Electric Circus. I don't think people were too prepared for that.
Right.
But people sometimes artists go in directions that you know you're, they take risks. They're not sure if the listener or their fans are gonna take to it because they're so used to a certain style and a certain sound. So for De La Soul to complete that objective, man, is cold, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I
No
mean? So
question.
I love Grind Day for so many reasons, man.
Load.
Load.
Sorry. That's the name of the
Okay, okay, okay. All right.
that's the name of the Metallica record that you're talking
Okay,
about there, Load.
okay, okay. Load. Got
Yeah.
you. Got you. Got you. Got you.
But yeah, no,
Yeah, man.
100%, man. What do you give this album out of 5, Chin?
I give it. Let me see.
Objectively speaking.
I give it a four, maybe a 4.2, 4.3 out of five. Maybe a low four. I wouldn't go solid four. Maybe a little over it. I just feel like a couple tracks were, as much as they felt they were a part of the record, they could have gone without.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I don't want to condense it even more, but they just, I don't know, they could have been left out. You know what I mean?
No,
Or
absolutely.
switched or whatever.
No, I understand what you're saying. What would you say the 3 tracks that lived the best, and then the 3
Oh
tracks that
wow.
lived the least, that didn't live so well?
Okay. Much more rock cocaine. I'll take much more. I'll take rock cocaine flow, and I'll take. Let me see. I'll take the future.
Wow. Okay.
I'll take those three.
And the 3
And
that you'll leave?
okay, I'll leave Days of Our Lives, I'll leave Come On Down, and I'll leave oh, this is tough. I might have to go with No.
Those 3 records in a row. Yeah, you know what this record feels like? The theme of it kind of feels like a day at work.
Bro. I like that. Go
Like
ahead, go ahead.
the future sounds like wait, you're waking up, your alarm clock hits, you really got to get up.
Yep,
Verbal clap sounds like traffic.
it does.
Much more sounds like when you meet and greet everybody at work when you first get there.
Mm-hmm.
Shopping bags, I guess, sounds like the work day also. The grind date also sounds like the work day. You're still getting through the work day. Church also
Right,
sounds like you're getting through the work day. And then it's like that kind
right,
of stuff feels like your lunch break. Things got to calm down a bit.
right.
You comes, you start back at work again. And then when you get to Days of Our Lives, come on down and know that's that part of work where you're really tired and you kind of
You
check
want
out
to go
mentally,
home.
right?
Man,
And then when you get to rock
absolutely.
cocaine flow, you kind of bang it out because you know that the day's almost coming to an end.
Absolutely, brother.
I could be wrong, but
That's a
like it
perfect way
always
to put it.
felt like that with for me personally, like when you're listening to
Man, that's a perfect way to put it. I wish if I bet if I asked them one day or if I met them and asked them, they'd probably confirm it on sensation. Because that just sounds dead on, man. That's how it feels. It feels like at that point of the album, it's like, damn, work is dragging. I want to get home. You know
yeah,
what I mean? This is the longest hour of my life.
right,
You know what I mean?
absolutely,
When I want to go home, like, but it's not a bad hour. You know what I mean? It's
right,
like you're getting your money. You know you're working.
exactly. You think about your
You're getting shit done.
responsibilities,
So it's like a productive, right?
right?
As much as you may not like that part of the record, there's certain shit in there that you may need to hear.
That's right.
There's certain shit that they may have said because you don't like the track or like how it sounds. You may have missed a gem or two. So,
Yeah,
different strokes for different
that's
folks,
true.
man.
That's true, man.
Absolutely.
Amazing album, man. Pitchfork had it number 31 in the top 50 albums of 2004. Albums that came out that year: Kanye, College Dropout, I believe. Little Brother came out that year.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
there a bunch of records, but I think uh, Most Def dropped that year also. I know there's a lot of
Okay.
records around that time, and then around that time that kind of had that feel. And I think this is like one of the
Right.
standout ones of that time in the early
When
stages
did
of the soulful samples and not so much the
right, right,
gangster
right.
rap, but the 2000s version of conscious rap going forward. I guess you could say this is one of the highlight albums. I guess you could say.
Absolutely. When did When did the Block Party come out? Dave Chappelle, was that 04, 03?
It might have been oh 04,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
towards the end of '04, I think, if I'm not
Because
mistaken.
the names you just mentioned, man, yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
exactly like.
they're all they're all Dave Chappelle had them all on there.
Hmm.
He was the in living color for conscious rap. Honestly, was no
Absolutely,
question.
man. 100%. Absolutely agree.
Chin, this was fun.
It was, man. It was. I never broke down the album like this, man. I look at it in a different way now. I thank you for
Absolutely,
that.
man.
Sure.
And going forward, I guess we're gonna like I said, we're gonna include um new artists in the city and include their music.
Okay.
Any records that they'd like to have broken, so to speak, and promote it. Please send it in. I'll give you the credentials. They will be posted. Please hit me at Uncle Buzz 85 at gmail.com. That's Uncle Buzz 85 at gmail.com. Shout out to Apex Radio. And tune in next week. We'll have another guest with another album to review. Shin Brother,
Yes, sir.
blessings, my friend. Thank you very much for coming through.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I'll see you next week. It's the Uncle Buzz Show. Take care.
Salute. Salute.